Good evening, fellow warriors in Christ. Bishop Darren Martell here alongside my brother and fellow warrior Brendan Vesey. This is Bridging the Gap, the podcast where we discuss all things spiritual, religious, paranormal, and try to, you guessed it, bridge the gap between them. Now, this is a big episode tonight. It's only our second episode, but still a big one because last time we said it was going to be a two-parter, but we decided for the sake of our sanity and everyone else's sanity, we're going to condense it down into one really cool episode.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be talking about provocation in the paranormal field tonight. This is something we had to kind of temper our emotions and frustrations on because we've been doing this collectively for a long time.
And every time I see someone screaming in the dark, I just shake my head and it's like, yeah.
So where do we go from there? So yeah, this is why we decided to kind of condense it down so we can get to the main talking points and not have ourselves rambling on like two angry old men playing chess in the park for a good 3 or 4 hours. So basically what we're going to go through tonight is the types of provocation, the dangers of provocation, some examples that we've both experienced, both positive and negative, and just all around why you just shouldn't do it.
Or when to do it, at least. I mean,
there can be a time and place, and let's don't get me wrong. As ministers and as demonologists, and myself being an exorcist, that's provoking right there. And
well, here's the thing: if you go to a location with reported history of demonic infestation or just bad energies or bad spirits. First of all, you need to know who's around you.
Yes, definitely.
Say if you go into some place, which is like you and me, that's one thing because we're used to it. You know, we have experience. We know what to do, how to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
In our homes.
Yeah.
Now, if your average, amateur ghost hunter go in, start running his mouth, and all of a sudden they're having attacks at their place, and they really don't know how to protect themselves or the home, but yet they're running their mouths.
And that's what we're going to kind of get into near the end of the episode is like the TV influence and how the big name and more commercialized teams you see on like Travel Channel or Sci-Fi, how they've affected the amateur investigator and how, their influence has kind of been a big deal in terms of people, taking what they see on TV and going, ooh, they did it, so I can just do it.
Right.
Absolutely wrong.
And people, I think the biggest thing people are failing to realize with these TV shows, a lot of these shows are filmed in days.
Yeah.
And have crews or having a production team.
These are planned out. These are way in advance. But, just kind of just to pick your brain and everything, we both have been through some pretty negative experiences when it comes to provocation because we both were beginners at one point. We just didn't start out being like demonologists or ministers or, spiritual cleansers. Right. We had to learn kind of the hard way. What's good about tonight is our producer, and she's also my fiance, Kayla, is here with us, so we kind of get to pick her brain because she too is an investigator with Elite Vixen Paranormal, and that's a wonderful paranormal investigation group.
Absolutely.
And they're very much up and coming and making a big name for themselves right now, so I can't wait to actually have them on here soon and pick their brains about the paranormal field and how that kind of integrates into the spiritual realm as well.
Well, the thing I love about them, especially with one of the co-founders, Chanel, that she incorporates a lot of scientific methods as well as spiritual and day-to-day
very open-minded.
Absolutely.
Very open-minded. But yeah, again, our producer, my fiance Kayla, is here, so she's going to be able to kind of chime in with what she's kind of dealt with in terms of experiences with provocation and where her team kind of, not so much where the team stands, where she personally stands. That's a way of saying that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like provocation in general, what is provocation? Let's go ahead and go through that kind of terminology here. Provocation, just from what I've learned through my experience in the paranormal field, is picking a fight or aggressively trying to stir up energy without really having any sort of care about what happens afterwards.
That's a funny thing. Say, if I pick a fight with you or you with me, we can go toe to toe, and one of us is going to end up on the ground or beaten up or whatever.
It depends on who's having the better day with their knees, I think.
Right now it would be you then.
I think we both just better play chess and leave it at that.
Right, but that said though,
they're
trying to pick a fight with something they can't see, touch, smell. No senses can understand what's could be in that room with them. Yet they want to talk smack, not knowing that one of the best lines was from Bishop James
Long.
James Long.
Yeah.
It's not they'll attack on their time, not yours.
Exactly.
So
and that just goes for the entire spiritual realm and the paranormal field. And what people don't really understand about provocation in this field, paranormal investigating is not some, let's grab some flashlights and go to a cemetery and have a good Friday night, woohoo. This is a very dangerous enterprise. This is a very serious field. It's scientific. And you're dealing with dark energies, darker entities.
But remember, brother, we came up, unfortunately, in that realm. Because,
oh, yeah. But when we were actually growing up in our early 20s, we were around the time where, the big TV shows were starting to come around. And that's how we kind of almost, in a way, got halfway influenced.
Well,
not totally.
Halfway is the right word because talk about from our last episode how we get into this field. Both of us had experiences from childhood memories.
Yeah, definitely.
But that compound with seeing TV shows on TV. Like the first time I saw a paranormal investigation show, I was still in the Navy and I was actually going to my room and the TV in the lounge had sci-fi on, and I was like,
and see what you're saying is like when we were younger, our first instinct when something in the paranormal sense would happen, wouldn't be okay. Let me see how I can call this thing out. Let me see if I can stir up some activity. Mm-hmm. A lot of our humanistic feeling was fear. And kind of intrigue and fear, that's why we're in this field, is because we were intrigued more than we were scared.
Well, and also people get that rush.
Yeah.
The adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it goes with intrigue as well.
Right.
But, like, the things we're talking about, like with types of provocation, we've already kind of gone over the definition, but types, you got, like, verbally challenging these entities.
Yeah, like when you go to a fight with knowing you're not going to win, physical
it's like when you hear somebody say, oh, why don't you attack me? Or if you did this to this person back in the 1800s, why don't you step up, be a big man, and do this to me? We're not knowing what the repercussions could be, and it's very dangerous. Not only could it physically attack you at that point, but spiritually speaking, it can follow you. It can attach. It is a parasite.
Here's the question. I mean, I know it doesn't happen often, but what if, you're in a dark room, you're just running your mouth, and you do get knocked back 10 feet. What are you going to do?
There's nothing you can do.
Are you going to run your mouth still?
I mean, people can be like, well, I'll just pray against it. And what's that going to do now? Because you've opened yourself up completely. Now, this dark energy and entity is going to say, okay, now it's really time to play, because I've already shown that I can attack you, and now you're going to try to use some spiritual blessing now that I've attacked. Oh, no, that's not how it's going to work now.
See, that's the thing. Like, I follow the light. I'm with the angels. But if I see one trying to talk some smack to a demon, I'm going to step aside. So, hey, I'm Team Demon at this moment. Hey, do what you got to do.
No, I totally get that. And that kind of goes with this type of provocation too, is the prayer and religious invocation when the person who is trying to invoke, say, the Holy Spirit or the intercession of Saint Benedict or Saint Michael or any of the patron saints who of protection, when they're sitting there and trying to say these blessings and they're not really feeling it in their heart, they look and say, well, I saw so and so do this, and it worked for them, so why wouldn't it work for me, folks? This being as a demonologist and as an exorcist who has seen, for lack of a better term, I've seen some things, I've experienced some things spiritually that are just they're not fun to see at all, and you go through a lot of emotional turmoil as an exorcist. You just can't sit here and just spout out a prayer and think everything's going to be great and you're protected.
That's the thing.
And it comes to spirituality. You, in your heart, soul, mind, and body, have to believe everything you are saying. When you invoke the Holy Spirit, you have to believe that full armor of God has taken over you, that nothing can penetrate that armor, and that is why you're completely protected against any dark energy.
See, that's where a lot of people are lacking these days, and that's faith.
Yeah. Faith saves. Faith will save in so many aspects.
I mean, without faith, you're doomed to fail.
Yeah,
I don't know how,
especially in this field.
Yeah,
and I'm not talking about just like the Christian realm of faith.
No.
Because this is not okay. If you don't believe in Christianity, then you shouldn't be an investigator, or you're definitely That's not what we're talking about. So everybody has the right to believe in what they believe in.
I've met some amazing people who practice the Wiccan belief.
And they're very well protected.
Right. I mean, Buddhists, name it.
Yeah, and a lot of it boils down to the spiritual protection you give yourself. Because what we were talking about before, there's a difference between religion and spirituality. If you're spiritually protected on the inside, no matter what you're believing in, and you truly believe it, you are prone more to having that shield on, and whatever dark entity is looking at you saying, okay, all right, this person is kind of serious over here. It gets to a point, though, when you start hearing and seeing these people trying to invoke all these different blessings, and you just it gets disheartening. It's very disheartening to see and to listen to, because you don't want to tell them, hey, watch out, you're wrong because you don't believe. Because
the thing that bothers me is, if I actually respect people who are atheists, who need evidence, and I respect them because you need proof. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side of that, people who either mock faith,
not like the ones who say, "Well, you believe in the flying spaghetti monster,"
and then they go and do what we do to acquire evidence,
and the next thing you know, they're the ones who are having issues in their life,
right, and they need help.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No.
What do you mean?
I don't think you have to be religious to be protected.
Well, not religious, spiritual though.
I mean, it depends on how you define spirituality. I mean, I think if someone goes in there and they may be completely atheist and they may be fully scientific minded about it, but
and that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
I feel like as long as they're confident and they feel sure in themselves, and it's a mind thing.
So you think like a humanistic kind of confidence is enough at times?
I think if you feel secure in yourself and Then yeah, I feel like that's a form of protection.
I mean, that could very well be true, and I really actually appreciate that kind of opinion, because it's a different take and a different side. Whereas I'm of the mindset that you have to have that extra shield. That's where my faith comes in. Whereas that's another really good mindset of, look, that's part of the confidence of standing.
Let's be real too. Like, even the full armor of God as you view it or see it may not always be enough either.
You're right. You're exactly right. And that's why we were talking about with the exorcisms. Just because you exorcise someone doesn't mean it's not going to come back. And a lot of these exorcisms, historical exorcisms at that, have been going on for years and sometimes even failed.
Right.
So, and again, in no way, shape, I can't even speak right now.
No, but that's one big misconception about movies and TVs that just tick me off. Thinking that a pastor or priest, wow, words. Yeah. Can just come into the house like old John Wayne from Old West.
Now get
right.
Now, pilgrim.
Hear ye.
It does not work that way.
Yeah, it's like you just can't put on a collar and a purple stole and walk in and throw holy water on the place and say you're blessed.
Between confidence and arrogance.
Arrogance. We're talking about arrogance. That's a good point. You see a lot of paranormal teams, and not just in general, that are very arrogant. Go into a lot of very dark places that are known for spiritual attacks. Going in there, they're like they own the place. There's one thing I learned in this field, is that if you go into a location and there's been an entity that has been there a lot longer than you are, that entity has dominion. And if you go in there spouting off, you got to get out of here, and especially if you don't believe what you're saying, say in the name of Jesus Christ, get out of here, that demon's just going to laugh at you. It's going to say, this is where it's playtime for me.
Okay. I'll bring up the Bell Witch because that's a local legend, and there's numerous theories of what the Bell Witch can be. It could be a demon, it could be a poltergeist, it could be all this.
We're going to save that because we have to go to a quick break really quick. So hold what you're saying, because right now, folks, again, we're going to go to a quick break. And I didn't explain this in our first episode, but our breaks are going to consist of more of a meditative and kind of relaxing and self-reflective period for about a minute. Usually it'll consist of a prayer, maybe just some calming music, just to kind of, again, meditate and self-reflect. And we'll be back here in the next minute or so with more. And he's holding his tongue because he has something really big to say, and I want him to say it, but we have to go to a break. So we will be back here momentarily. This is Bridging the Gap. Stay tuned.
Music Bay Preview.
And we are back, fellow warriors in Christ. Again, this is Bishop Darren Martell alongside my brother and fellow warrior Brendan Vesey and our wonderful producer and my fiance, Miss Kayla, who is an active and proud member of Elite Vixen Paranormal, one of the best groups out there. Look them up on Facebook, Instagram, any kind of social media. I believe they have TikTok now.
Yes, we do.
I'm too old to know what TikTok is now.
We're old men, dude. I ain't got no time for no TikTok or Ticker.
Hey, you gotta stay relevant.
You gotta stay relevant. Well, I'm not relevant. No, we're not, in general.
We're on the bench, dude.
We're riding the pine pony there, but okay. So you brought up a good point during the break, is that we've been sitting here getting frustrated and ranting this whole time about provocation. We're not done yet by any means necessary, but it's funny how we go from ranting and then all of a sudden I'm just like, now we're going to take a nice self-reflective break with some nice soft music, and now we're back to ranting. So you had something you really wanted to get off your chest in the last segment, and I believe it's about the Bell Witch Cave, which is located in Adams, Tennessee. Now, for those of you, and the rare few of you who don't know what the Bell Witch story is, I'm not going to go into it. Just do your research. Gotcha.
Wow, just wah, wah.
Any paranormal investigator should know about the Bell Witch hauntings from the 1800s that have still...
They made a movie about it.
They did, with Donald Sutherland.
Yeah. I'm not going to rant about provocation right now. I'm going to rant about that awful freaking movie.
So bad. They butchered the...
Keep it to 30 seconds.
Okay, seriously.
They turned him. Okay,
they turned him into a rapist.
They turned him into a
with
pedophile.
no evidence to back it up.
No, absolutely.
It's Hollywood. Hollywood takes way too many liberties with horror movies as it is.
I mean, granted, back in the day, there's probably almost no evidence of.
They basically said, "Hey, there was no actual ghost here. It was just a little girl who was disturbed by being molested by her father."
On the flip side, there is some scientific documented proof where teenagers, especially teenage girls, can produce poltergeist activity, but that's a different conversation for another day.
Yeah. It is. Another episode.
Yeah.
Right.
No. So let's.
Well, but to tie it to molestation is just a whole can of worms. That's
a touchy subject of itself.
But the thing is, it had Donald Sutherland, CC Space. Okay, this is going to be a good movie.
Terrible.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Cast, though.
I'll be honest. After I saw the movie,
point.
And God rest his soul, Donald Sutherland, great actor.
He passed
and even
wasn't Sissy Spacek in that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just couldn't look at him the same way after that movie.
It's
like trying to look at Guy Pearce after watching Lawless and not wanting to punch him in the mouth, even though he's probably a great guy in real life. If you watch Lawless, you really, and I'm trying to temper, my anger with this one because, anyways. back to the Bell Witch. Okay, that took longer than 30 seconds.
Right.
Go ahead. You have something you want to get off your chest about the Bell Witch Cave or the Bell Witch story in general.
Well, the whole thing in general. So now, this different theories. It could be a poltergeist, demon, all this stuff.
And just to preface this too does kind of tie into the whole provocation and the types of provocation too. So
bottom line is respect. Because for the fact that I don't know what this is, where it come from, I respect the fact that it can kick my butt from here to Albuquerque and back with a smile on his face, and there's nothing I can do about it.
You said the golden word right there, and that's something I didn't even think of till now, is respect. You don't have to like the thing, but respect the fact that it has some sort of power, and it's otherworldly. So if it wants to throw you down this flight of stairs that you've just been begging to be thrown down all night, it can do that.
You really should go into any unknown scenario with that mentality, that this thing can hurt you. Better safe than sorry.
Yes, and that's why every time, to go off that, every time I do any sort of blessing or investigation, the first thing I try to tell anybody who's new to investigating is, what I learned is the darkest energy can always hide behind the most innocent form. Do not trust what you see or hear as nice and happy, and it wants to touch me and hold me.
That's why anytime I hear a child's voice, I don't see a child, I'm like, deuces.
Yeah, just stay away and keep your distance.
Don't run.
That's Oh, I can't. Okay. Basically, it's keep your distance. That should be the entire mantra of this episode: is keep your distance. It's okay to investigate. You should respect. Keep your distance. And so we're
like social distancing, 6 feet apart.
So going into the experience realm of this, again, we've all collectively, you and I have been doing this for over a few decades now. So times that we've provoked and it's gone wrong. Now I'll go ahead, the one main experience that I've had was, again, I think I mentioned this in our last episode, in the first one, was South Tunnel. And we had a gentleman with us who wanted to do this ritualistic pentagram on the train tracks with these stones in a pentagram shape. And don't think that I'm trying to, like...
They got nothing to do with it.
Say that the pentagram is some awful symbol or something, because it gets a bad enough stigma.
Pentagram and pinnacle are two different things.
Exactly, but so we do this, and this is the only time on an investigation. I'm still kind of green to paranormal.
This is like the second, third time out the dude, so we're green as grass.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here, and this is the only time in an investigation I did not remember the investigation. I saw through pictures and video how I was, and that wasn't me. I'm not a smoker, and this has nothing to do with like the paranormal aspect, but for some reason I chain smoke like a whole pack. And that has nothing to do with like the paranormal side of it, but I'm just saying.
Well, if you did trance or an altered state, absolutely.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, because they could pull out like things that you normally wouldn't do.
Well, say if you were oppressed or even partially possessed, you pick up characteristics of that said energy.
And now those photos and the videos that we still can't locate that we saw back in the. I mean, that was not me at all. Through the eyes, through the physical features.
Right. And why is that? Because you were running your mouth.
Yeah, I was running my mouth because I didn't know any better. Was participating in ritualistic. I even called it a game at this point.
Right. Thinking
that nothing. What could go on? I mean, it never happens to anybody on the TV shows. I was no pun intended, dead wrong that night. So that's just my personal experience of how things went wrong for me. That's the day when I finally realized, hey, look, if you're going to do this, take this seriously. Don't go around thinking that you're Mr. Tough Guy. Actually respect what you're doing and respect what you're getting into. I'm sorry. What you do? That wasn't. Oh, never mind. You know what?
That's a whole other.
Take it away. I'm flustered. I'm frazzled. You know how rare I like to use that word.
Either way, so I get mine's a bit more of a complex story.
Yeah.
It was, when was it? 2012, 13? I was living with my girlfriend and her daughter at the time in Hendersonville. It started off. All right, so.
Was this in the Lakeville apartment?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it started off where my ex would have these little decorative, round little mirrors hanging on the wall, right? The one closest to me every now and then would fall off the wall. Mm-hmm. Well, I figured maybe the adhesive was coming undone. And then it went from there, where we're sleeping or in bed, pillow talking, whatever, and I hear this box get kicked and don't see anything. And then really back down, and all of a sudden we hear
the scratch,
on the wall.
Yeah.
So I get up with sage in one hand and a plastic millimeter in the other hand.
Oh, the red lighty one? Yeah,
right.
Okay.
So I'm saging.
I had to tape on the battery pack.
Right. I'm trying to figure out what this thing was. And then that was the first night. It progressed from there.
Yeah.
And then, for the fact, it came to where my ex would not sleep with the lights off. Lights have to be on. Wow. And me, I need lights off.
Well, of course. I mean, who likes to sleep with the lights on?
Exactly. So, and it just progressed even worse. I mean, I remember having a dream where, actually it was a dream. We were taking a nap, and I'm sleeping on my back. Mm-hmm. She's sleeping away from me.
Yeah.
And I hear her voice go, "Don't touch me." And I'm like, I'm looking at her, like my hands are like right here on my chest.
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm not touching you." And she's like, "What?" Like,
wow.
You just told me not to touch you.
Okay.
And I'm not touching you. And she's like, I wouldn't tell you to do that. Well, you just did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I felt something kicked to bed.
That's that's borderline poltergeist activity.
Well, I'll give you the backstory on that in a second. But that's where I was getting mad because she's getting scared. I'm like, come out and face me, quit, attacking her and come out after me.
Yeah.
It was doing that.
You were acting in a humanistic kind of defensive way. Your family was being. I mean, because you can't really fault that, but at the same time, we're dealing with a different realm here too.
When we were getting our first team together, this was happening at that same time.
Oh wow!
And because if we heard that the meeting the first time, it was a bunch of us, mm-hmm. And it was I'm not sure if they want their names dropped here, so I'll leave them out for now.
Yeah.
But it was you and this other guy, you know, leading the meeting.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend was in the open dining room having a cigarette.
Was it that meeting?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So either
we
way,
digress.
And then the other guy, for no reason, went up to stabbed at my girlfriend, saying, "You know, can you please not smoke in here? Keep my place."
Yeah.
You know, I was like, "No, that's you know." And then she went to her bedroom. He went back. He apologized. She accepted whatever. But you know, we know this dude. He is a very mellow dude.
Yeah.
And he does not pop off like that.
So it's almost like the energy of the place was just kind of turning everyone against each other.
Pretty much. And it got to the point where this is where God interacted because I was nowhere near as seasoned as I am now, but I knew this was a friend of mine, and I was trying to find someone to talk to. I'll go and talk to him. While I was talking to him, my girlfriend called him, not knowing that I was talking to him. So we both went to this guy, for some kind of guidance. The fun thing is, he believes a lot of things can be. He bases it on a temporary suspense of belief, where everything is just imaginatory and everything. When he got to my apartment, he immediately changed his tune. I mean, the energy was that bad.
So he knew that there was something there that was definitely not of this realm.
And he narrowed it down to two parts of the apartment: the guest bathroom and the fireplace.
Okay.
And basically, he said the idea that the entity was sent there to break up me and my girlfriend.
Wow.
Because,
Did it work?
Well, yes, but that's
a different story.
We
Dynamite drop in there, money.
We broke up a year after the fact, so yeah. And then he taught us that our blood is the purest thing we can use to fight against evil forces. So I had some shot glasses. We filled it with water, and we pricked our fingers. And got the blood in there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man. I mean, it works. Yeah, but it's just now that we've been so seasoned, we look back and going, like when I look back at South Tunnel, I'm like, what tarnation was I thinking? And likewise, I'm sure you feel the same. And there's also positives to provocation. We'll try to sum this up in the next couple minutes, but the positives, like remember when I went to that trailer up in Northeast Tennessee?
Oh, yeah.
Where actually, and the energy was so dark, it's like walking through Jell-O. And what had happened, this family, this single mother had about 4 or 5 kids, and the youngest boy was literally foaming at the mouth, shouting demonic, it was, for lack of a better term, it was bad. It was just a bad situation. And going in there, the only thing I had to do, when I was in the car ready to go in, I was like, Lord, I can't do this without you. I cannot do this. Is through you. Through you, I have the strength to go in here and speak your name. And going in there, the only thing I told this boy, and it really didn't take much, I handed him the Bible. I said, hold on to that for me. I'm going to let you take this and keep this. I said, I want you to hold that close to your heart.
Right.
And I asked him, I was like, do you know who Jesus is? He's like, yeah. And then as soon as he held that Bible, and he said, yeah, I know, that's when... It could be, I'm not saying it was easy.
No.
But at the same time, that was a positive, because I had to go through that house and say, look, in the name of Jesus Christ, this family does not want you here. You're done tormenting them. Because it wasn't like that house had been there for hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. This trailer had been moved there in the past year. So...
Well, the thing is, I initially went out there for the first, investigation. And they said someone was shot there, but I saw no evidence of a bullet hole through the wall or anything. But the kids were in a whole other room asleep, so I didn't even see the kids. Whatever. But she kept calling me. It's like, if that's that bad, let's get some reinforcements out there. Did that case help you reaffirm your beliefs? I don't know. For a while there, you were kind of in a darker route, but ever since that, it kind of, reopened that, or rekindled.
It did reaffirm completely, because at that point I was still getting back into the realm of, knowing that I was ordained, but at the same time, a few things that had happened in my life
Right.
that I was starting to question my faith, but at the same time, I didn't want to give up.
Right.
I wanted to be like, Lord, you've given me so many chances as it is, and I failed so many times.
Right.
You know what? I can't give up on you. I can't, because, I mean, long story short, it really helped to reaffirm what my calling was. And knowing that His grace and mercy and power can be even granted through the simplest of acts, as handing a Bible to it.
Well, that's why I love to say God doesn't call the qualified; He qualifies the call.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's such a special message too, because all of us, especially paranormal investigators and a lot of ministers, they go through a life where they're not proud of some of the things they did, but if they're called, God's going to find them out and say, "Hey, look."
That's the thing. There is not a person on this planet right now who's not sinned in some form or fashion.
Well, yeah.
In the story.
Yeah, and kind of just bring this full circle, like that kind of like what we learned. Yeah, what we've learned from those kind of provocations, the healthy, I guess you can say, and the unhealthy provocations. It's made us better, not only investigators, but more open-minded to the science of the investigating and the spiritual realm. And it's helped us learn what not to do, and helped us kind of spread that message of, hey, look, if you're going to do this, please be serious. Like you said earlier, respect what you're doing, respect what you're going into. And if you're going to use this in the name of God, make sure that mind, body, and soul, you believe what you're saying. You believe, not just saying, you believe what you're proclaiming and invoking. And that's pretty much the lesson through all of this. And so when we come back, we're going to take a quick break again. We're going to kind of finish up with why not to use provocation. And the certain things that get used a lot that need to stop being used, as well as talking about, of course, these giant televised programs that all of us have watched and been like, ooh, let's go do that tonight. So again, this is Bridging the Gap. I'm here with Brother Brendan Vesey. This is Bishop Darren. And that is my wonderful producer and fiance Kayla over there, chiming in with her wonderful opinion and kind of putting the boot to us when we get off topic.
Hey, she's the mom of this.
She is. She's the maestro behind it all. So we're going to take that break again. We're going to have a minute or two of self-reflective kind of piece just to kind of calm down from more of the rant. So enjoy that minute, folks. We'll be back here in just a second. And we are back again, fellow warriors in Christ. This is Bishop D. Martell alongside Brother Brendan Vesey, another spiritual warrior right there. This is Bridging the Gap, and we've had, looks like 40 minutes, almost 40 minutes of wonderful conversation about provocation, what we've learned through our experience, and really what to do and what not to do, the kinds of examples, and kind of giving definitions of what provocation is in the paranormal field.
Right.
This final segment, we're kind of going to talk about the influence when it comes to like the big time TV shows and the big teams, ways to protect yourselves, and just what not to do. And let's start with what not to do. Folks, I'm going to make it clear and simple. Ouija boards, don't touch them.
No.
Don't use them. And I know there's a lot of people like, well, they're not that bad. And really, just investigating in general is kind of like, opening yourself up to. Folks, a Ouija board is basically like taking a dark entity's hand and putting it on yours and saying, tell me what to say. Tell me what your answer is going to be. Okay, that's so much more open than protecting yourself, at least.
And people want to make the comparison to Ouijas to spirit boxes, EMFs, or millimeters.
Totally different level.
All that is white noise, which is everywhere.
It is.
I mean,
and it's a different level because you use those items.
It's frequency based.
You use those items. Of course, some people use Ouija boards on paranormal investigations, which I don't know why they use in the first place. I'm sorry, I get frustrated with this.
Or black mirrors, or whatever.
But like spirit boxes, those are scientific instruments that detect frequencies, and because it's said that spirits operate on frequencies that the naked ear cannot hear.
I hate spirit boxes.
You know, why do you hate spirit boxes?
I don't want to talk about it.
This is a tough topic, right?
Yeah.
Well, my grievance. Yes, we do use scientific equipment, but we are not scientists.
No, we're not. We don't have degrees.
But I hate it when I see people on these on TV, whatever, say we're doing a scientific experiment. It's like, do you have a PhD? No.
Where's your white coat? And you're
to be fair, the scientific method, is anyone can use it.
Well, the basic scientific method.
Yeah.
I hypothesize that is a correct.
Or theorize.
That was corny and dumb. My dad jokes are getting so much better.
Is this your hypotenuse?
Nice. What? No. All right, so talking about that goes into like the influence that TV has had on the investigator in general. Now, we all know the shows, and I don't think it's bad. We can name the shows on like Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, anything you see on Sci-Fi or Travel Channel. That's what people look, oh, that looks really fun. Let's travel over here. Let's go to this place, and let's see if they did it on TV. That means we can do it.
I'm going to start with the pros before I get into the cons.
Yeah.
Because pros are a lot shorter.
Yeah.
I give respect to both teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Or each team on TV, because I don't care what team is in America or this world right now. Every team got inspired by what they see on TV, and 95% of the teams want to be exactly where these teams are.
Yeah, I've never encountered a team, and I'm not saying they don't exist. For you paranormal enthusiasts out there who seriously take this, who respect the field and who really are searching for answers and searching for the scientific results. Look, that's wonderful. That's exactly what we're looking for. But it's the people who are like, let's make a team, and so we want to be big and famous, and we want to be camera hogs, and that's the only reason. You look like you have something important to say, which you say everything you say is important. But
I'm just thinking. There's nothing wrong if they want to. If there's a team that wants to market themselves and their goal is television, but they have to understand that there's going to be a difference between actual investigating and then what they're going to be doing. It's not going to be one and the same.
There's nothing wrong with the goal being television either. It's the goal of we want to get famous because of this. If the goal is the television so you can promote, hey, this is why we do... I feel like Ghost Adventures, in their early days, we do this because we experienced it. This is why we want to show this. The original documentary was perfect because they wanted to show it to everybody. This is what we caught. Now, I feel like it's becoming so commercialized.
Oh, I can say the same thing about Taps.
Definitely.
I'll give Taps the benefit of the doubt the first 4 or 5 seasons as far as what they've captured.
Yeah.
After that, especially after I think they were in Stanley Hotel, what dude was pulling the string.
Yeah, that's kind of where it kind of fell off.
Yeah,
but you made a really, really good point there. It's like it's okay to have this goal of let's get on TV, but it's about
just know what you're getting into and know that you're going to be acting 90% of the time.
As soon as you sign that contract with these big time stations,
you're the puppet.
If they want you to go up to this staircase and I want you to look like something just hit you. If you don't do what they say, you're in breach of contract, and they can fire you and put somebody else back in. That's how contracts work. I use contracts every day at my job.
That's in theater, film.
Yeah, they are your directors,
right?
And that's why my goal.
Television show first, and investigation.
Right, exactly.
Or third.
And we've been on investigations. We won't really name the situation where we've heard from the proprietors that this team had come in very well known. and it was nothing but, okay, now let's let the real team come in, and we're going to shoot this scene.
Right.
And then we're going to change to this lighting over here, and then this shadow needs to be over here. It loses all of the scientific credibility.
All the
at that point.
credibility is out the window.
And unfortunately, it's gotten to a point now where it's becoming a lot more popular, but it's the wrong time for it to be popular, because when it needed to be popular was when that first Ghost Adventure documentary came out, when it was about showing the evidence and the experience.
With the brick and the board, that was awesome.
Yeah, because they had the analyst on TV going through with the spectrogram, going, I don't understand why you should be able to see a string here.
Right. And they were the first ones, I think, was Trans-Allegheny. They had a guest investigator. You see his wrist go, and you see the voice recorder.
All credit to the Ghost Adventures crew on that one, because they did come out on live TV in all seriousness and called, like you said, called him out. And that was very respectful and respectable.
We had to, because that's their reputation, and they were nowhere near as credible as been around.
Yeah,
this is like the first 2 seasons, whatever. I mean,
and I just think completely that with the influence, I'd rather people be influenced by the early investigative. Like, I remember a show that on like Most Haunted Locations on Sci-Fi, the originator of like, let's watch this tonight on Friday night. Those were the types of shows I like to watch.
I love haunted history. Like Savannah, New Orleans.
But going through this, kind of coming full circle with this, the influence, when you see these investigative teams use Ouija boards or, spirit boards in general, or provocative means to stir up energy, they can say, don't try this at home.
How often you see these teams go to these locations and do a spell or ritual?
Or a seance, or
they have. I mean, I'm not saying they have no business doing, but but it's not your core belief or your core being. You just doing it just for evidence.
Yeah, and it's
not evidence at that point.
Yeah, it's just stirring up
what
they probably shouldn't be stirring up in the first place. And my opinion, again, all this, folks, it's opinionated. So if you don't agree, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
That's great. But it's like. Take, for example, if you're watching like professional wrestling and say, don't try this at home, what are people going to do? What in 2020, what's the human being going to do when they hear, don't try this at home? They're going to try it at home.
And blame somebody else for it.
Yes, and I can be honest, I'm guilty of it as well. I've tried it at home, not just the professional wrestling. That's why my neck still hurts, all those stunners. Those are fun nights, weren't they?
Well, I'm not going to say booze was or was not involved, but...
No, but I digress, though. It's like when investigators on TV now, don't try this. We're trained professionals. I have a problem with saying trained professionals.
And experts.
There's it's just a liability thing at this point, I think.
I mean, you can't sue someone over, I got attacked by a dark energy, I'm going to sue you for everything you got.
You'd be surprised.
It's like the lady who tried to sue McDonald's for a hot coffee spilling on her lap.
She did, I think.
And she won, didn't she?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Okay, I'm not even going to get into that because we don't have the time or energy to tackle that one.
Yeah.
But it's like going on screen and then saying those things like, don't try this at home. No, we know what we're doing. Okay, that's great. But you're still setting an awful example for the younger generation to say that it's okay.
Well, now, I will interfere. I'll play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Because, the kids should not be watching. That's when mom and dad comes in, changes the channel. I'm just saying.
Oh, unfortunately nowadays we don't have that kind of parenting and well, see, I don't know. Parents are very. I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah,
that's a touchy right.
We're just gonna.
You look like you have another important thing to add to that.
Well, I think we're giving people too much credit by assuming these are children. Like these are probably grown.
Well, if I walk out in the living room and I see Gabe, my 3-month-old son with the clicker in it, I call it a clicker. I'm definitely a dad now. With the remote in his hand watching Ghost Adventures, not only am I going to be freaked out and think that's some poltergeist they're here thing going on, well, why would a 3-month-old have a remote in his hand anyways?
Or say anything.
Because he's got tired of your crap.
We watch too many horror movies, don't we? No. But just, case in point, I mean, a lot of these teams, they use all these... provocative ways to stir up energy, and they make it seem like it's okay. And to the common person watching, well, I mean, they're still around. Nothing's happened in their lives. How do we know nothing's going wrong in their lives?
Well, that's the thing. We're getting, 15 minutes of what we see on the screen, and we just, unless you follow him on Instagram or Facebook.
Like you said, all these investigations are like days long in terms of filming, and it's not just one night. They just film constantly.
No. I mean, I was a film student for about a year. I did a documentary on us, and we've had documentaries on my hunts. I mean,
So basically, kind of sum up everything we talked about tonight. Ways to protect yourselves in general during investigations. Again, you don't have to be a Christian or a certain religion to really, there's no certain way to protect yourself other than, through your own faith and spirituality, or through whatever you feel.
At the very least, if you don't believe and you really, 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 really want to run your mouth to these entities, just be prepared for the consequences.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen.
Boom.
That's the best way to kind of put it. And a lot of people go through spiritual turmoil, and we've been through cases where people have been like, yeah, we used to go down to this place, and we used to do this and this and this, and then in our heads we're like, so this is why this is happening. But we can't really say that. We're here to help. So
there's been many times where I had some words come to my mind, and I just can't say it.
On a personal level, I always invoke the Holy Spirit as a devout Christian, and I use that full armor of God, not because I know it's easily accessible. Right. It's at my expense and everything, because I know that if I'm going to do this, I respect the field I'm doing this, and I also know that I need to be protected, and I can't have that protection without that full belief in that faith, and I know in my heart that I need that protection because I'm just a human being.
Basically, the two words for tonight is faith and respect.
Yeah. Respect the field. And by provoking, a lot of times, people don't respect the field. That's why you see these macho teams.
No, it's just disrespect.
Yeah. And again, I'd say you see these macho teams, these kind of teams, that stand with their arms crossed in all their pictures with the mean mugging look, like they're going to really do something to a dark, entity that attacks them.
Be careful. I have a picture of both of y'all posing that way.
You know why we posed that way? Because we were mocking somebody.
Right.
Oh, that's the truth.
Okay.
We'll do it again. Because we're macho.
And we'll probably do it next week.
Folks, don't try this at home.
I'm pretty sure you were wearing a jacket, unironically.
A leather jacket. A black leather jacket.
And I have my sunglasses on.
We thought we were cool. We thought we were Joe Cool at that point. But see, we were still kind of new at that point. We've aged, and aged horribly at that.
Oh, God.
But, and that just, to sum everything up, provoking folks, I know people are still going to do it.
Well, yeah.
And as you said, Brother VC, respect. If you're going to do it at all, respect the fact of, respect the location, respect what you're dealing with, respect the paranormal field.
And just don't get mad when we laugh at you for not at least heeding our warning.
It's not that hard. I mean, again, you don't have to be you don't have to have a certain type of spirituality to protect yourself. It's all about whatever faith or belief you have. Just protect yourself, folks. Just be careful, and don't just throw caution to the wind and say, well, I don't even know why I have to be in that voice since I just caught myself off guard there. Just be careful, folks. Be respectful. Be mindful of the fact that, like you said earlier, you're not the only one on an investigation. So whatever you may be doing or saying or invoking, that can bounce right off you at some point and go to somebody who's even less protected.
If you do it at someone's personal home and you leave, guess what?
You're leaving it there with them.
That's rude.
Yeah.
That's straight up rude.
Let me be honest. It's like going into someone's house and farting. It's just leaving. Hey guys, have fun with that one. Click. I think I just broke him. That's great. And Gabe, my son's sitting here with us. He's looking at me. He's like, just wait, Dad. Wait till tonight at 3 a.m. You talk about that. I'll just walk right out of the room. Yes. So this has been a wonderful, wonderful experience tonight. I think we got a lot off our chest. And I think, we were more coherent and more kind of structured thanks to our producer, my wonderful fiance, Kayla. We were more structured than I thought we would be.
Women make things better, all right? Let's just face
that. That is a big truth.
That's all.
Little type A. Well, I'm a little type O positive in my blood type. Well, I still can't believe
well folks, Next week there might be a change. It might be the Kayla and Darren show because I might be in a grave somewhere.
Yeah,
so.
see, no, I think if you're in a grave, it's because your head's going to blow up because the next week's episode. Folks, next week's going to be an even bigger episode, and we're going to close with this. It's going to be an even bigger episode than this week's because we're going to be talking about something that really just grinds all of our gears here, and that's the wonderful, wonderful story of the mega church. You know, all these giant, multi-million-dollar buildings that some have play places and restaurants in them that hold 5,000 people, where the main pastor believes he is proclaiming the word of God, but in reality he's seeing a big old fat paycheck, and we'll get into some of those.
It refuses to open up their church when millions of people are suffering during a hurricane.
So, well, before we even go into that, we're going to save that to next week, but I'll just say this in terms of megachurches. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of God.
Mic drop.
That's all you got to say. And they can say nothing about it then. I'm starting to get into it. I got to stop now. But next week, mega churches and televangelists. Holy Lord. And one of us even turned into a farting preacher.
What?
On YouTube.
What?
I think we've all seen that one.
No, I have not. Please. What?
Look up Robert Tilton, the farting preacher.
Oh, God.
Okay. That's all I'm going to say about that. But tune in next week, folks, because you're going to want to hear it because we have a lot to say. And we're going to try our hardest to keep calm, let the Lord take over, and not use any kind of profanity, because that's going to be very difficult.
Lord, take the wheel.
Exactly. Just hope it's not this, we don't want this wheel on the side. We want the steering wheel at that point. So, for Brother Brendan VC, for my wonderful fiance and our producer Kayla, for myself, Bishop Darren Martell,
for Baby Gabe,
for Baby Gabriel, who is laying here and who is a wonderful help as well as always. This is Bridging the Gap. Again, the podcast where we discuss all things spiritual, religious, paranormal, and try to bridge the gap between them. It's been wonderful, folks. Have a blessed evening. In the name of Jesus Christ, we bless you all to have a wonderful day. We love you. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Wear your masks. That's all I'm going to say.
And stay 6 feet away from people.
Just do it, folks. So have a wonderful evening, folks. We love you all, and we'll see you next week.